Today we got a remanufactured engine from Powertrain Products. We had to warranty the other one, and they really did a good job servicing that warranty. This is the engine we're being worked on. And we're cleaning, we're gonna put on the oil pan first, and we're cleaning the surface to make sure that the seal seals correctly. That's the first step. Okay, so what we have, this is the oil pickup tube, the seals on it. We've got the seal for the oil pan set on here, and we're gonna install the pickup tube right now, and we're gonna torque it. Okay, this is installed. Let's torque to 20 foot-pounds. And now we are ready for the oil pan itself. All right, we have the oil pan on, and these bolts are torqued to spec. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put the crankshaft sensor in, and then we're gonna put the camshaft sensor in there. And then we're gonna take this little plug out to put the sensor in for the oil. That one right there. And then we're gonna install the exhaust manifolds on each side. Okay, right now we're cleaning the surface where the water pump housing is gonna go. We've installed this little nut there on the head, and we've installed this cap here. I put some RTV sealant on that to make sure that it's sealed. Put these nipples on both sides. Put this sensor back on. Of course, we put the exhaust manifolds back on, and that sensor for the oil filter, which the oil filter we don't have. We're gonna get it tomorrow, so we won't be able to put that on tonight. That sensor was always hard to put in on the other engine as well. And also in here, there's a bunch of gunk in there, so we cleaned that out. So beware of that. That's it for now, for right now. On this housing, this is newly installed. The thermometer's in there. The water pump is new for the engine, and this seal is new. And then we're gonna use RTV on these surfaces. Of course, seals come with a gasket kit to go in, not in here, but yeah, I think in here. Anyway, that's where they'll be. And then also to help out, we have our supervisor right here. He's a pretty good help. Okay, we've got the seals in there, here and here, the RTV around there. And you don't want to put more RTV is not better. So just FYI, you don't want too much of it to squeeze out on the inner side. The reason why I put it around the bolt holes is because that's where it's going to press down. And you kind of want it pressed evenly. Even though this isn't torqued super hard, it's, I don't know, probably doesn't make a difference, but that's what I did. Anyway, the inner RTV is what's important here. So you can put that on, tighten it snug, wait an hour, and then torque it. Okay, the water pump housing is installed. Timer's been set for an hour, and then we'll torque it. I did put a little RTV on that section there that we had to wipe off. The pulley is off. It goes here, but we have to torque that bolt, so we're not putting the pulley on yet. This goes to the AC. A little trick on these bolts, you don't actually have to track where they all go. Just if they just put them in the slot, and if they're about an inch or so, if they stop about an inch or so before they get in there, you know it's the right size or length bolt. And then you just hand tighten them and wait an hour for the RTV to set before you torque the bolts down. Okay, we're done for tonight. We put on the engine oil spout. The water housing is on. These pulleys are installed. Engine mounts are installed. This plug. I put in the spark plugs so nothing falls in there while we're doing the rest of this stuff. These are in. All the sensors are in. Gonna put on the flex plate tomorrow. And this belt wheel. And the oil filter. Okay, this engine is ready to go into the truck, and this is what we've done so far. Of course, we put the oil filler funnel on. We put the valve covers on. These nipples have to be taken off the old engine and put onto here. This is a sensor that we put on, and there's a sensor up top here that has to be put on. Keep these covered. We installed the spark plugs. We installed the flywheel, or the flex plate, it's also called by some people. The exhaust manifolds have been installed, as well as the engine mounts, the oil filter, and of course, a new water pump, the pulley system, and the water pump housing. And again, as I said before, it's got a new thermometer in there. Engine mount there. Oil pan is on with the oil pickup filler tube in there. Can't forget that. That's been torqued. And there is a sensor here that we put in. That's for the oil temperature, most likely. And the cam sensor's over here. And then over here is the crankshaft sensor that we put in. And then on the bottom here, there is a bolt right there. And that is so that you can connect your transmission line, coolant lines to it and stabilize them. They were not connected when we got this, and as a result, they rubbed up against this and tore a hole in it. So that won't happen again now that because we're going to be able to stabilize those transmission lines. And that's it. It's ready to go in. The engine is set on the engine mounts, and a couple things about how we did that. You're going to want to have your jack, your engine jack, hook onto the back here. In this case, we use that silver thing right there just to kind of pull it forward a little bit so that it fits
with the bell housing. And then underneath the bell housing, we use this jack and a drill to move it up and down so that you could get the bell housing and the jack, bell housing and the engine to mate up together. And so that's what we did last night before we stopped. And we put in these two screws that face backwards to hold them together. And we're gonna be installing the rest of the stuff today and getting this engine running, hopefully. But those are the first two screws you put in to join the engine at the bell housing, and they're the last two also that you take out before you remove the engine. Of course, you need to do that before you take, yeah. So we're gonna put on the rest of the bell housing bolts. The starter will go over there, and then after the starter's in, we're gonna attach the exhaust pipe to the manifold. And then we'll take everything here, put it all back together here. First thing we're going to do is put these bolts in here. There's 4 of them. They're for the flex plate or the flywheel underneath. To do that, we're going to use this contraption to turn the engine so I can put those in underneath. I'm going to use Loctite on them and torque them. The second thing we're going to do is put the dipstick in back here. You want to put that in first before you put the manifold or the air manifold on, or else it'll be very difficult to work back there.